good, YouTube? LTtvSportsNation. And for those that may be new to this channel, I do content strictly on the NBA. If that is something that you are quite interested in, be sure to rock with me and support the channel. Now, I may or may not be late on this whole Ben Simmons Golden State Warriors situation, but if I am, that's my bad. But me being a Warriors fan, I kind of just wanted to give my 2 cents on it. Now, the recent news may have came about, say, 5 to 7 days ago, that the Golden State Warriors are kind of divided on whether or not they should make the move for Ben Simmons because of the whole Draymond fit and how that can potentially play out. Now, I kind of understand why the Warriors are so divisive on this whole thing, because you have Ben Simmons, young, talented, gifted, but can't really shoot. Draymond, a veteran NBA champion. He has his flaws, but he can't shoot either. It's kind of a complicated problem that you really don't want to have, because you already have one player that can't really shoot the 3 ball that well. You really wouldn't want another one on that roster, which can really complicate the offense and kind of have it looking very stagnant. So I get why the Warriors the way they are on this, and it's completely understandable. I mean, ask yourself this question: would you want 2 non-3-point shooters on your roster hindering your offense? More than likely, the answer would be no. The thing with the whole Ben Simmons situation is now Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, they've been doing their thing in the summer league, and I've only seen the highlights. I really haven't watched a summer league game ever of the Golden State Warriors, and I probably should. But this strong play is kind of making them reconsider even trading for Ben Simmons, to be honest with you. So it's now looking like we might not even bother going through with that trade, because if we do decide to go through with it, we'll potentially have to give up, hypothetically though, Moody, Kuminga, Wiggins, and future draft picks. So we're mortgaging our future basically on the 24-year-old who has great abilities, playmaking, court vision, a defensive wizard, but he doesn't quite have the confidence within himself, nor does he have the motor to want to improve on his game. That's not something that I'm trying to risk if I'm Bob Myers and company. But on the other side of all of this, we do need to at least make a move. We don't have to necessarily trade for Ben Simmons. We don't. Now, if we do go through with that trade, as a Warriors fan, once again, I'm cool with it. But there's the Pascal Siakam trade out there. Now, he's kind of the same as Draymond, but you want to give up much to trade for him, because the Raptors, they want him out of there. So the Siakam trade, to me, it's just more of a suitable thing to go through and to bother trading for Simmons, to be honest, because Daryl Morey, he wants a little too much. And how Ben Simmons, how his poor play was displayed in the playoff series against the Atlanta Hawks, I'm not so certain I would even bother like giving the King's ransom to Daryl Morey for him, because his trade value has plummeted since. And the Sixers and Simmons have no communications whatsoever. So evidently, he wants out. And you really can't blame him for wanting out. So if you are the Sixers, you're kind of in a dilemma. Because he doesn't want to be traded to Portland. He doesn't want to be traded to the Timberwolves. He only has 3 teams on his radar that he wants to be traded to. And the Blazers and the Timberwolves are not on those listed teams. I think it was the Warriors, the Lakers, and the Clippers. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. But if I'm wrong, then please correct me in the comment sections. So you're going to trade him to a subpar Blazers and really just a nowhere fast Minnesota Timberwolves. For what? I mean, yeah, if he is traded to either team, he's locked in for the next 4 to 5 seasons. I get that. But do you really want to trade a guy to a subpar or bad organization just out of spite? Because you guys have to remember, they kind of threw him under the bus after that Game 7 loss. And he really wasn't trying to ask for a trade. He was going to go about the offseason and keep it pushing. But he was thrown under the bus by Doc Rivers and the whole Sixers fan base. So it's kind of a whirlwind of events, if you're just asking me personally. So really, I do believe a Ben Simmons trade is likely to happen. It just depends on who will actually trade for him and what they're willing to give up. Because in Daryl Morey's case, he wants the whole 9 yards for a guy who has really been stagnant since he first entered the league. And he's been deemed lazy and among other things in NBA circles. And that's not a good look if you're trying to trade for him. So it's a lot to juggle. And I do believe that the Warriors may or may not still be interested in trading for him. And honestly, with the whole Draymond Simmons combination, there is upside to that. Only from the defensive aspect. Now, from the offensive aspect, you have to take one of them out. Because there's no way I'm putting a Draymond and a Ben Simmons on the court at the same time. That right there is just a asinine thing to do. And Steve Kerr, if they ever pull it, I'll probably look at him a little bit sideways and question his coaching abilities for even considering that. But nothing has really been progressing. It's kind of at a standstill. Nothing really transpired since the NBA draft, when the Sixers, they wanted to make a trade happen, and the Warriors kind of rejected it because the offer was a little bit laughable. And honestly, you really can't blame them for laughing at it, because if that offer was as comedic as many think it is, then the Warriors had a right to laugh. And so did the rest of the NBA, because you wasn't going to give up Wiseman, Wiggins, and those draft picks. You just wasn't. And I honestly believe that we would have gotten rid of Wiseman to get a Ben Simmons. But Bob Myers, he stayed true to his word. He was not going to put Wiseman in the trade. But in a desperate time, called for desperate measure scenario, to get a Ben Simmons, you kind of will pull the trigger on it. But Wiseman is pretty much staying, and that's cool with me, to be honest with you. I think he's a young, talented kid. A lot of growing and developing to do in the league, and we shall see what happens with James Wiseman this year. I'm looking forward to how he responds following his shortened rookie year and things of that nature. I really don't know what to think about this at this point. I'm kind of 50-50. 1 minute I think we should trade for Ben Simmons. Then the other part of me says we should really trade for somebody else. Now, if we're going to heavily target Ben Simmons and you have Draymond still on the roster, would you at least consider it? Not actually going through with it, because I don't think that will ever happen, but at least put Draymond and Wiggins in that trade. Because like I said, you can have two non-3-point shooters on the same team. That just creates a world of dysfunction, and it really just stagnates the offense. In an organization like the Warriors, who rely heavily on threes, you really don't want it to be a potential on 5-on-3 or 5-on-4. You don't want that scenario to happen, because it's already a 5-on-4 with us playing Draymond. So now, if we were to trade for Simmons, it really would just be a 5-on-3 if you're looking at it. So I think that's a lot to juggle and handle. But if the trade does go down, then so be it. But if we stand pat as we are, which will be a big, big mistake, then so be it. But I'm very curious to get you guys' thoughts on how you guys feel about us potentially trading for Ben Simmons. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think that we should not even bother? Or do you think that we should trade for someone else? Because there are some players out there that may be on the trade block, that may be more of a better fit, and you won't really have the dilemma that we have potentially trading for Ben Simmons. Appreciate everybody that came across this video. I'm LTtvSportsNation. I'm out of here. Peace.